Hello to Niall and welcome him to the podcast. How are you, Niall?
Hello, Seamus, how are you? It's
I'm
so lovely to be here. I'm very, very excited. Thank you for having me.
lovely to have you on. Thank you so much for coming on. We can't wait to find out everything about you and your quest to win Eurosong. Maybe let's start about finding out a little bit more about you. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and I suppose your musical background.
So my name is Niall. I go by the artist under the artist name Niall, which is NIYL, which also stands for Not in Your League. And yeah, I kind of grew up in Limerick City. I've been performing since I was like a kid in stage schools. I got the bug really, really early, I guess. And then have been like singing and songwriting for the past, Jesus, like nearly 10 years now, which is mental. But the kind of stuff I write is a nice mix of like moody indie pop, big soulful vocals, and all kind of cinematic-y landscape. So I guess what I try to personify is a bit of London grammar, bit of Teddy Swims in there, a bit of Sam Smith. Those are the vibes, all kind of wrapped in a lovely little Limerick City bow.
Love it. You've painted a really nice picture actually now of that. I like that because two people I love vocally, Sam Smith and Teddy Swims. I just love their
They're
voices.
incredible. They're
Oh,
such a like it's just so I love listening to artists who make their voice like big voices that are so effortlessly done. And I think Teddy and Sam are solid, solid players in that
oh my
game.
God.
So I think Sam from a young age, I was always like, God, I want to him and Aretha Franklin were the two voices that I was always like, I would love to sing like that.
Yeah.
So I've been trying. I've been doing
You're
my
trying.
darndest.
It's sounding good. You're sounding good. Don't worry. And so one thing I'm really interested as well when I was reading about you and researching you, interested about your name. So I'm glad you kind of explained the NIYL. And then also I think at one point you were called Niall St. James. So I'm like, interesting. This guy has had many lives as a singer and an
Yeah,
artist.
got a bit too anglicized for me. I was like, I need to take back my roots. But the reason I took the name Niall St. James was because of a kind of bucket list moment that happened in my life. I was singing in Limerick, in my beloved Limerick, for the marriage equality referendum. And I had sung a song composed by a composer in London that I loved, an American composer even. And my father recorded this particular song, and a couple of days later, he posted it on YouTube. The composer heard it and invited me over to perform with himself and Cynthia Erivo, who is now Elphaba, before her like meteoric rise to fame.
Mhm.
And I was invited over, like by the skin of my teeth, got over, and the theater that was in was St. James's Theater. So, as a little nod to like a milestone moment in my life, I took on the name for a while.
Right.
Um, but I also love a good rebrand in my life. So, after a couple of years, and as my sound got a bit more electronic and matured a bit, I ditched the St. James and I changed how I spelled names.
Who doesn't love a rebrand? I mean, Madonna's done it her whole life, so yeah.
Every few years in my career, there will be some sort of rebrand, be it a name change or a style change. I'm a bit of a Rubik's Cube when it comes to music, and I always love changing it up a little bit.
Brilliant. Love that. I'm here for that. And I suppose when I was also doing my research about you, I kind of found out that you obviously have grew up in Limerick and you started kind of in choirs and musicals and stuff. And then you went off and you went abroad, I think. And I kind of got this feeling that maybe your life has evolved and how I kind of got a feeling that music has been so central to your life as you've kind
Oh,
of grown and changed. Would that be fair?
yeah, that's totally fair. I think like the way I always like to describe it is that like, as I said, I kind of got the bug for singing and performing at a really, really young age. But it like there's this innate need for me to sing um, in life or perform or like express myself through singing and be it on stage or be it in a recording studio, the actual act and medium of singing and letting out your emotion. But like that's my therapy. Like that's how I get out my emotions and that's how I get out the things I'm feeling. I think the most raw and honest way of doing it. So there've been times where like music has always been part of my life, but there were times when I wasn't necessarily performing as much or singing as much, and I always found that that had a really massive effect on me as a person. And I realized that I would say, Jesus, the bones of a decade ago now. And I made the decision. I was like, just for as like if it's singing in the shower or singing on stage, I need to be doing it all the time. So it's been a massive part of my life, and I think music has taken me to so many lovely special moments and things like with performing with Cynthia and getting to kind of share. share art and creation with loads of other people, and it's such a sacred thing to me, and something that I can't kind of picture myself not being without, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, love it. That's so beautifully said. And I feel exactly the same way, but unfortunately for me, it is in the shower or in the car to myself. And I
I
think that's probably
mean,
a
as
good
long as you
thing.
can visualize crowds of millions, you're all good, my friend.
Oh, it's all about the visualization, yeah. There will never
Manifest.
be millions in front of me. But there may
Manifest
be
love crowds, baby.
there may be millions in front of you though. So Eurosong, here we go. What in God's name possessed you? Why Eurovision? Why now?
Do you know what? So my family background, I grew up in a house that like adored sports. Like, all my family were really, really mad about it. And I was a bit of the black sheep wanting to do like, musicals and
Oh my
this, that.
God, you are me. You are me. My
You
family are
know,
mad GAA and I was the black sheep.
yeah, rugby fanatics. Like my cousin is Peter Clossy, a famous rugby player. Like, or there's just these deep connections to sport in my family, which is great. But the thing that kind of the like in our upbringing, Eurovision was always the thing that we all came to watch together. And it was such a celebration of like queer art and music and culture and stuff. And it has been for me for so long. So I think as I started doing my own stuff, I was like, oh, I'd love to do it, but I don't know kind of what sound would be right for it. And then Goa done their performance pre-COVID with Solivay. And I remember listening to that and being like, that's something I could definitely see myself doing. And I loved how they kind of merged that really, really cool Ukrainian folk music with more electronic beats and soundscapes and stuff. And I was like in awe. And since then I was always like, I have to enter a song. I have to write a song for this and enter it. So that's kind of where the track that I'm in the final now for it came from. It's a growth. It's definitely heavily inspired by Goa, but kind of paying homage to Irish traditional roots and how, well, actually general human traditional roots, how we all began, and the first instrument and the first sound was the voice, and making sounds around a fireplace and then adding a beat to that, like the really raw roots of what music was. This song celebrates that, but brings it into a space that's a bit more modern with how I produced it and how I do my vocals, and everything that I write could be about a particular theme or emotion, but I always love pulling from the world around me, and especially with nature and stuff. I'm a big fan of poetry, and I've always been drawn to that type of writing, that kind of romanticized lyrical writing of landscapes and nature. So that's what the track is going to be.
Okay, okay, yeah, because I was going to ask you, tell us about growth and what's it about and everything like that. Because when I was listening to it, I was like, what is this about? Because I was getting a few different things from it. So yeah, okay, so very interesting to kind of get that background. And
Yeah.
did you write it kind of yourself, or was there a team with you, or who was involved?
No, all myself. Yeah, I write all my own songs. I've been a big fan of writing in general for as long as I can remember. So when I started wanting to do my own artistic projects, it was kind of it came second nature, I guess. I really enjoy, again, like I'm a big all about kind of ritual and ceremony in how to do things, and sitting down with a glass of red, lighting a candle and writing some music, it was or some lyrics is like a lovely peace of mind for me. So it's a bit of my happy place.
Mhm.
So I've been doing that for as long as I can remember. So writing and kind of getting the base of the compositions are myself with melodies and stuff. And then I have an incredible producer in Dublin, Chris Benzar from Diffusion Lab, who produces all the tracks for me then. So it's been a really, really nice creative partnership with him now for growth as part of this big album that I'm doing, that I'm hoping to release this year, called Parish is Burning.
Oh yes, I love
And
the name.
I like, oh my God, some people are like, what does that mean? And I'm like, go watch Paris is Burning and then come back to me,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
But yeah, that's the
Brilliant.
journey of the song. That's the journey of the song, I guess. That's
Oh
where all
yeah.
the inspo came from, and the collaborations and stuff. It's been a really nice process. And do you know, when you find something that clicks really, really nicely, working with Chris and finding that producer who's a really, really good fit. I'm so lucky, and we have 10 songs now as part of this album, which is so fucking exciting as well. I can't wait.
Wow, that yes, I could just imagine that one must be amazing having that material ready to go and like this is my baby and I want to put it out into the world and see what everyone thinks and enjoys.
I was saying it to my partner, I think today or yesterday. I was like, you release songs and they're like Horcruxes. Like, if anyone's a Harry Potter fan listening out there, it's a piece of you that's left into the ether for eternity. You know what I mean?
But isn't that
So
lovely? I
I
think
look
that's
at
a
my song.
lovely thought that like maybe it's a bit morbid, but when we're gone, that music will be out there. Part of you will still be out there for people to enjoy and come across.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful though. I
I
think
think so too.
I like, unless like the world is destroyed by tech, that those songs are going to be up on online forevermore, which is a lovely, lovely thing, and it's a lovely little Horcrux of you.
Lovely. It's a lovely thought. When I'm long gone, somebody could be listening to this episode of the podcast and enjoying it.
Out there into the ether. We love
Yeah.
it.
So tell us, I suppose, thinking about Eurosong and the song and the staging, because we know with RTE and with the studio, there's limitations, I suppose. So what will it look like? What can we expect? Can you give us any hints?
Yeah. So the story of growth is again going back to that idea of like how we as humans found ritual in the past, dancing around a fire, making sound, and how as we've evolved, that's kind of become festivals and finding community and connection in around big gatherings of people, festivals being the predominant one, or matches. So the song is kind of about that, and what I wanted to capture on the stage is this kind of journey of I love mythology and I love kind of looking back into mythology, and I've always been obsessed by the fates and like the mother maiden crone of them, and they could look into the future and stuff. So the whole idea of it is I have three incredible contemporary dancers who'll be dancing around me. They're going to be acting as the fates, and it's a prophecy beginning at the start of time and kind of looking into the future of the world and seeing all the beautiful things that we've done as a society, but also the destruction. And it's capturing that whole cycle of life from kind of birth to maturity to death. In hopefully that'll be translated visually anyway, and definitely through the dance. I've seen the rehearsals and I'm going down to rehearsals next week as well. I'm very excited, but it's all coming together.
Okay. That sounds amazing, actually. I can't wait to see that. I can visualize that in my head and I'm like, oh, okay, that could be really, really cool on stage. So
Yeah, like I have it, but like it's all big scale in my head. I'm thinking of huge stadiums for it, and I'm like, I need to condense this to the size
you're already
of
thinking of the stage in Basel, aren't you?
I can't help it. It's so bad.
Yeah, and then you go into RT and they'd be like, where are you going? Scale that back.
Yeah,
You'd be like, no.
20,000 dancers.
Yeah, well, I suppose you have to remember at Eurovision, you are only allowed six people on stage too. So even at Eurovision, there's limitations as well. Um,
True, true.
and I've been asking the others as well about the competition. Have you been checking out the competition now that it's all out there and the songs are out there? Have you listened to their songs or
I
is there any?
have. I'm a terror. I'm not like I'm going to like cleanse myself of social media for the week of it so that I'm not like influenced by other sounds and stuff. Day one, I was straight on. Yeah, there's like it's a really nice eclectic group of songs. I think everything is really different. There's some similarities definitely across them, but I think all the artists that have been put forward are for the most part like really, really interesting and stuff. And also Samantha Bumble, which is just iconic. I
Oh
just
my
can't.
God. Like I know I'm fangirling. I'm like, oh my God, thank God she's finally doing it.
Like I'm buzzing now. I can't wait to like she's just been there in Irish culture for so long. So it's going to be really, really cool to perform alongside her and perform against her. I'm ready
Yeah.
for it.
Bring on the competition.
Yeah, let's go, Samantha.
Don't mess with the limerick, fella.
Yeah, yeah. Dead right.
Yeah, it's like the dub versus the limerick. Ooh, it's like
Western.
GA all over again or something.
Yeah, I love it.
Really interesting there you were saying about, how kind of Goa made you think about Eurovision. And it is fascinating how it just takes kind of maybe one act to change the way you think about something. And suddenly you're like, oh, maybe I could do Eurovision. And I think for a lot of people, that was Bambi Thug last year.
Yeah.
I think Bambi Thug really made people kind of sit up, take notice, and go, oh, maybe this Eurovision thing could be for me after all. What did you make of Bambi and their performance?
I loved them. I think Bambi is like a true artist in every sense. Like I think you could really tell how involved they were in the decision making of everything. I think from the get-go and seeing them now. like and their career, you can just see how much of a creative genius they are. So I think I'm not gonna lie, that song took a bit of warming to when I first heard it on the Late Late Show. I was like, oh God, this is a bit of a is the term earworm where you have to get used to it. I think it's an earworm that the more you listen to it, the more you're like,
Hmm.
this slaps. But by the time Eurovision came, we were like, yeah, get it. But I loved watching them, and I think they handle themselves with such grace. And again, like when you see someone expressing themselves that well creatively, it's always quite admirable. So big fan of their work. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think the Irish Eurovision fans felt the same. I think they were like, "Wow, this is amazing. They're
and
doing it
I think
their way and their style, and it just looked fantastic."
and if you look at the like the artists, I think the decision making process and what artists to bring to the final now is quite different as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, I think they're like in the selection process, allowing a lot more alternative sounds to come through and be in for a chance, which is really, really cool because Ireland is has such a really strong modern and alternative music scene.
Mm.
And it goes beyond that kind of clean pop sound. And I think what we see now in the Late Late Show is a nice representative of the vastness that is the Irish music scene at the moment, which is great.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
only a good thing. Yeah,
like
and for a fan watching, it can only be a good thing as well because there's something for everyone. I think, you know.
going and being on the Late Late Show is going to be great, and like just getting a chance to see other artists do their thing is going to be really really cool as well.
Yeah,
You know, and I think that's important to always look at when you're in competitions like that. You're obviously all aiming for the gold and for the win, but it's going to be cool to see other people perform as well. I'm looking forward
yeah.
to it.
I think it's nice to be able to appreciate other people's kind of work and what they do as well. Yeah.
We're all here for a reason.
Yeah, totally. And is there any other, actually, just thinking back in Ireland and Eurovision, is there any other kind of Irish acts or songs from Eurovision that kind of that you remember and have a place in your heart, kind of?
Yeah, I loved Brooke Scullion's entry so much.
Everyone loved Broke. It's
It
gas.
was so good. Oh my God. I was only like just watching it there the other day as well. I was like, this is a banger of a song.
Yeah. Should have
Um,
qualified. Should have qualified.
I really, really enjoyed that. And what other ones? So when Sarah McTiernan is a friend of mine. I was
Oh, yes.
in the voice with her, and she had a song a few years back, but I really love her voice. She has such a really cool, gravelly
Mm,
tone to her voice. So I enjoyed that one as well. And yeah, I think those are the standouts for me for sure.
mm. Cool. And then in terms of music in general, then I read somewhere that I think your first record you bought was Shirley Bassey. I'm like, wow, I am liking this guy's style. I'm liking his music.
And she has not left my mind ever since. Oh my God, Shirley Bassey was the original diva, wasn't
Oh
she?
my God, icon, Dame Shirley Bassey from Tiger
Hey,
Bay.
Bassey, Welsh Queen, just giving absolute lungs any moment she gets. I adore her. But yeah, that was one of the first records. Oh my God, it was and my dad's a big fan as well.
Ah,
I think
okay.
that's what inspired it. But all my family love these big, powerful vocalist singers, and
Yeah.
I think that's where my growl for that came from. But yeah, no, Shirley Bassey, I who have nothing. That's just one of the best track like songs
Yeah.
ever.
Stunning.
Banger.
Just her voice and everything. And even I even love her cover of Pink Get the Party Started. Like
Yeah.
it's just brilliant. It's the campest, brilliantest thing ever. It's like, wow, love her.
I love it. Oh my God. That now, and if you ever listen to Aretha Franklin's pop covers album, she does Rolling in the Deep. She does like a Destiny's Child mashup with one of her songs.
Oh, wow.
It's it's an experience. It's an experience.
I'm gonna go straight on that after this. Actually, I need to hear that.
Well, Seamus, do yourself a favor. It's amazing.
One other thing as well, when I was doing my research on you, is you love tarot cards.
Mm, I
How did you
do.
get into that?
So my family, I was obsessed as a kid with like we used to watch Charmed, and I used to love everything to do with that. But my grandmother is a reflexologist and Reiki master, and has like sees things, I guess. Like she's not like a take here's money and I'll give you a reading, but she's when she does healing and reflexology people, she picks up on stuff and she was big into crystal therapy as part of what she done. So at a young age, I was kind of always a bit exposed to that those energies and stuff. And I was really interested in it. So I bought my first tarot card deck. Jesus, I'd say it was 16, but they're like it's mad stuff. Like I love it. Like it's not a party trick. It's so meditative. You go in, you sit down, you have your crystals around you, light some candles, and it's all about like visualization and connection. But I've given some mad readings to mates and friends before. So I believe in all of it. It's a really, really cool thing. And even for the act alone of kind of getting a bit of guidance on where you should be going, it's a really nice process. So yeah, tarot cards. I used to do a bit of runes as well. I never got them right, but I used to love Nord. You know the Nordic rune stones?
Oh yeah.
Big into all of that stuff.
Oh wow. I'll have to
Yeah,
come around for a reading.
yeah. Oh my God,
Like,
more than
what's in me
welcome.
future, Niall? What's in me
Yeah,
future?
bottle
Money,
of red,
marriage.
tarot cards, and
Oh my God.
Shirley Bassey.
Oh my God, it's like my best night out or best night in. Brilliant. And what did the what did the tarot cards say about Eurosong? Did they say you're going to win?
Haven't given myself a reading on it yet because I want to like get in the zone and I for psyching myself out about things, which is why I tried to go on a social media detox. Get me on the stage and I it's an out of body experience. I'm in the zone, but the build up, if I think about it too much, I'm like I just you just like you know as humans, you just fall down the rabbit hole a small bit.
Yeah.
So I don't want to psych myself up with a tarot card reading, but I'd say maybe if I'm very fortunate enough to get through after the seventh, I might give myself a little reading.
Well, hopefully you'll do it on the 7th of February. Um, that is kind of all my questions. I do have a few kind of quick fire questions for you if you're up for it.
Let's do it. Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to fire some things at you. So there'll be two options, A or B, and you just say which one you prefer. You
Ready.
ready?
Okay.
Okay. The Burn or the Cliffs of Moher?
Baron.
Barry's or Lions?
Aries.
Why me or Terminal 3?
Why me?
The Cranberries or the Rubber Bandits?
The Cranberries. Love the Rubber Bandits, but my God.
Yes, thank God you said the Cranberries there because I would have disowned you if you didn't. Tato or King Crisps?
King crisps.
Ooh,
They're lovely in a
controversial.
sandwich. I prefer King crisp in a sandwich than potatoes.
Surfing or kayaking?
Kayaking. I went kayaking with my partner for the first time there. I don't know if I should be going into detail about within these quick round questions. We
Please
went to
do.
the Mountain Post, went kayaking, and it was a group one, and I'm wildly competitive. And what turned into like what started off as like a real leisurely like do you know when you're on like two-person canoe kayaks? We were we were going down to so they take us down to Sophia Loren's villa and you go down to the beach down there and you kayak down and I was like we're gonna do this and we had the best time ever. On the way back I was like we should enter competitions for this. My partner was like please God no.
Suddenly you're off to the Olympics and you're kayaking
Yeah,
down a river. And
next
your
year
partner's like, never again.
never again.
Okay. Little or Aldi?
A little
Oasis or Blur?
blur.
Ooh. A can of cider or a cocktail in a can?
Oh, neither.
I would have totally gone for cocktail in a can. Uh,
That's it.
Terry Wogan or Graham Norton?
Oh, Terry Wogan.
Oh, Limerick man. See?
Limerick man, you can't. I can't.
Limerick or Clare?
Limerick.
Now, your last option, you have three choices. Pick one of
Okay.
them. Aretha Franklin, Joni Mitchell, or Stevie Nicks.
At the moment, Aretha. Yeah,
Okay.
Aretha always. Aretha always.
I read somewhere they were like your holy trinity.
They are my holy trinity. Like I'm in my Aretha phase of it. It's like a cycle. Like autumn time is Joni, Stevie Nicks is like my summer vibe, and then this midwinter time, getting into spring is perfect Aretha listening.
I actually kind of get that. I actually get where you're coming
No.
from. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. And the final question, and I'm sorry, 0 points, is what is getting your 0 points at the moment? What in your life is bugging you or annoying you? Or who?
Okay, I'm sorry, 0 points. For when you're trying to make a really, really good cup of Irish tea and you're doing all the things right, you're dipping the tea bag in, you're leaving it in, you have the milk and you're ready to go, and then the milk is just a small bit off.
Oh.
I know it's a small world problem.
And I actually totally agree. I only did it yesterday and I was like, it just ruined me.
It ruins your day if
Oh my
that's the
God.
first thing you drink in the morning.
Yeah. If first thing in the morning, it's like my day's gone. My day's ruined.
Universe is just like,
Love it. Okay. And if our listeners want to kind of find out more about you, where can they kind of get in contact or find more
yeah,
about you?
you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube for some nice music videos. And if you really, really want to reach me, email me. If you want to book me, email me.
If you want a tarot card reading, just book in.
If you want a tarot card reading, I should set up a little Patreon, and that's like the height
Yeah.
of the Patreon. Like, you know,
It's only €50 a session.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I take 10%
Tarot
commission.
card reading at a performance.
Fabulous. That is everything. That is all my questions.
Yeah, that was really fun. It was so nice talking to you.